Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I haven't done a video for a while because I've been working and I cannot find the time to make the videos or edit, but I decided right now I have some time, so why not make a video for you guys. This video is going to be ranking all the cars that I've owned, from the first car to my current car, ranking it on tier maker from S to D. So S being the best car that I've owned and D being the worst car that I've owned. Now, before I do start this video, guys, I just want to mention that this is all opinionated. I will not be talking crap about these cars. I liked all the cars that I've owned. I've even loved some of them. So when I talk about these cars, take into consideration that I actually enjoyed all of them, and I don't regret a single car that I've owned. However, there's obviously going to be better cars that I've owned, and there's going to be worse cars that I've owned. So don't take it personally. If you guys disagree, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Before I do start this, I want to mention that I've only owned one manual car, and I'll mention which car that is. All the other cars have been automatic, and man, I miss manual, but let's get straight into it. So the first car that I've ever owned was a 2008 Audi A4 Quattro 2-liter turbo, and I've only owned it for 2 weeks. I've driven it once, and for me, I felt like the car made me feel a little bit old. So that's why I sold that immediately. It was a 4-door. The interior was like tan, I think it was, or beige or something. Full leather. I felt like while I'm young, I want to drive a sports car. That is my goal. That's been my goal since I was like 5 years old, since I could literally remember, watching Fast and Furious and all that. So I definitely wanted to own a sports car. And yeah, I sold that car. So ranking the Audi A4, unfortunately, that's going to go into the deer category. Deer? Sorry, I meant D category. The next car that I've owned was a 2010 Hyundai Genesis Coupe 3.8 liter V6. This car was modified when I purchased it, and it was the same price as the Audi A4, believe it or not. This car came with, I think, 160,000 kilometers. It was quite a bit, but it wasn't like crazy. And I knew these cars are pretty reliable, so I decided to go with it. Of course, the people I purchased it from modded it, and they had, I didn't really examine the car fully, and I didn't even ask them. But they did have a MagnaFlow catback installed under the car, which I didn't replace because I love the sound of it. They had some weird heat wrapping going on in the engine bay. I don't know what they did to the car. They tuned it as well. And then the mods that I added to it were the wheels, the lip in the front. I added coilovers and little cosmetics on the car, stickers and whatever. Nothing crazy. Oh, they also had a modded they modded the taillights as well. So the car was definitely fun. Unfortunately, I totaled it after 4 months. So that car, I probably would have owned that car for a long time, maybe at least a year or two. But I totaled it. Let's go ahead and rank it. I'm going to have to put this on a B. Yeah, it's going to be in the B tier. It was a good car. It wasn't the best I've owned, but it was a really good car, and it was a lot of fun back then. And I was definitely happy that it was my first car. So after the Hyundai Genesis, I own a 2010 Nissan 370Z. I think it was a touring edition of the car. This car is my dream car. And I was so happy when I actually was able to buy one, because of course when you buy your dream car, it's incredible. It's insane. Like, you finally accomplished something. You are able to get your dream car. It just feels good inside. Unfortunately, the car was a rebuilt title, and the guy I bought it from was a little bit scummy. Now, I do thoroughly check my cars before I purchase them, always. And this car really didn't have any issues. When you looked at the engine, when you looked under the car, when you drove it, when you heard, you listened for the sound, it was all there. It was perfect. So, I thought, oh, the car is going to be, it's going to be fine. Unfortunately, I felt like I was at the mechanics more than I was actually just enjoying the car. Of course, I had some amazing moments with this. I slid this thing responsibly. It was a lot of fun, and I was really happy to own the 370Z, and I would not mind owning that again. I did order the Nissan Z as well before the BRZ, so I definitely loved the Z chassis, whatever you want to call it. It was definitely amazing, and I was really happy to have it. I added some mods to it. The car came with a Nismo lip kit, and I kept that lip kit on it because I personally loved it. But it came with some terrible looking wheels, so I decided to swap it out for some Odd Hans DSO2s, I believe it was. I added a chassis mounted spoiler, which a lot of people aren't a big fan of, but I personally loved it. The car wasn't wide bodied, but that chassis spoiler somehow looked really good on it, even though the car wasn't wide bodied, because the car literally is wide as hell already. So it looked really good on it. I bought an intake for it. I believe it was from Stillin or something, Stillin Gen 2. I painted the calipers yellow. I defogged the headlights. You know, it was a lot of fun, and I bought little things here and there. So definitely one of my favorite cars. Now, let's go ahead and rank this thing. So if I had to rank this car, I'm going to have to put it in the S tier because it was my dream car. And it made me feel great. Like, I love driving the car so much. So it's definitely going to be in the S tier. The next car that I've owned after the Z was a 2009 Audi TT Quattro 2-liter turbo. So this car here was also definitely one of the best cars I've owned in terms of automatic. Audi TT's dual clutch transmission was fantastic. This car was quick. When you wanted to shift gears, it was so quick. You know, if you guys have never driven a dual clutch, it's definitely one of the best automatic transmissions you will ever drive. Of course, the updated ones we have now in the recent cars are way better than they were back then, but even back then, it was really good. 2009 car, but that transmission was super quick, so definitely enjoyed the transmission on that. This is another car that I purchased with mods already. So this car had, if I can remember, it had an intake, full exhaust system, which actually my parents changed. My parents owned the car at first, but then I bought it off them. So my parents changed the exhaust. I know for a fact it had a tune. A big brake kit because it had like the RS brakes, even though the car wasn't an RS. It had TTS stuff as well. I think the bumper was swapped out, if I'm not mistaken. The grille was swapped out. It had a spoiler from the TTS model. It had the exhaust. Sorry, I keep mentioning the exhaust. I was going to say diffuser. I think it had a different diffuser if I remember correctly. Interior wise, again, it was all like TTS and like carbon fiber. So that car was a little bit crazy. I sold that car. I traded it in for the next car because honestly, as great as it was, that car also had some issues, which I got fixed, at least most of it. But again, it was fine, no safety issues, nothing like that. The car was in really good condition. Oh, it also had modded headlights and taillights. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, so I'm gonna rank this car. The car was great. It handled great. Wasn't the fastest car in the world, but it had a turbo, so it was a lot of fun, and the turbo sounds were just fantastic. If I'm gonna have to rate this thing, I'm gonna have to put it in the A tier. It was definitely better than the Genesis Coupe. The Audi TT just felt really nice and compact, so it was really fun. And again, Audi TT was all-wheel drive, so like definitely better than a rear-wheel drive car. It was a lot of fun, but it's not better than the 370Z. So the Audi TT was traded in for the 2020 Hyundai Veloster N full performance package. I even got it in the Jeju blue, not really Jeju. I think it was just a Korean blue. I say that because of the color mixture. So it was blue, red, and like a little bit of black and white and whatever. That's actually the color of the flag, so I think that's kind of what they went for, and it looked amazing. I loved the color scheme. I loved everything about the Veloster, and it was definitely one of my favorite cars. So of course, you know, rating it right away, it's going to go in the S tier. And not only that, this car was my first manual. So you guys probably already guessed it because I didn't mention the other cars being a manual. The Veloster N was the first manual that I've owned, and I absolutely love the car. It had, oh man, the exhaust was popping and crackling constantly. It was so much fun. A lot of cool technology in the car. You could, you know, change whatever you like just on the infotainment. It was fantastic. It was comfortable. It handled like a dream. You could either stiffen your suspension or you can, you know, soften it up depending on how you're driving. Again, just from like a touch on the infotainment, that's fantastic. A lot of cars that have that feature are over like $50,000. This car was $42,000 after taxes. Definitely worth it, worth every dime, worth every penny. However, the reason why I traded it in, or I can't say that, I traded it back to the dealership because as much as I love the car, I wanted a coupe. I wanted something that was all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. I wanted something that was not a hatchback, basically. Not only that, the manual honestly felt clunky. Now, yes, I was new to manual, and the Veloster N I actually owned for 1 year. So I had 1 year of manual driving. The first 2 months, you know, the first 2 weeks I didn't know how to drive it, then I learned. The first 2 months I stalled almost every day. And but after that I was driving just fine. I stalled like once every 3 months. But it wasn't a big deal. I only stalled if traffic stopped in front of me suddenly or whatever happened. I don't know. It was just random moments. But unfortunately, the manual was just clunky even after getting used to it. I tried so hard to make it as smooth as possible. But I think the most annoying part was that sometimes I couldn't put it into gear. Sometimes I'd be at a red light and I noticed that the light's about to, you know, switch to green. Pushing the clutch all the way, I put it into first gear, and sometimes it did not want to go into first gear. It literally got stuck halfway through going into first gear. And I can't let go if that happens, because if I let go, it starts grinding the gears, which happened to me twice. So I had to, you know, depress the clutch, push it back in, try and slap the car again into first gear, and this time it would go in. But like, it is just terrible. That part really irritated me, and it really wasn't like a driver's fault, because there's no way I can make that mistake. I pushed the clutch in all the way, and that's literally what I've done every single time I shifted. I never pushed it halfway in or anything like that. So that car was kind of a bad lemon, unfortunately, when it came to the transmission. But trust me when I say this, guys, I miss manual. I miss that car. It was a lot of fun, and I loved everything about it except those rough shifts. We are on to the 2023 Subaru BRZ base model. You guys already know I've made videos on this car. I've told you guys how much I loved it, so there's really not much to say about the car. However, I do want to mention this. It is definitely one of the best cars I've owned out of any of them. It is, you guys already know where this is going. It is going into the S tier with the two other cars. It will compete with the Veloster N, and it will compete with the 370Z, no doubt. While this car only has about 228 horsepower, literally, I'm telling you guys right now, this car somehow feels quicker than the 370Z. It feels quicker than the Audi. The BRZ just feels quicker because the car is way, way, way lighter than any car I've owned. The Audi TT itself was over 3,000 pounds, while the BRZ is like 2,700 or 2,800 pounds. So it's a huge difference. and the car definitely feels a lot quicker than most cars I've owned. I would say it's better than the 370Z, but I don't think it's better than the Veloster N in terms of value. So, you know, in terms of value, $42,000 for a Veloster N back then gave you a lot. Like, it was like an amazing package. It gave you everything you needed for the car. I can't say it's better than the Veloster N, but it's definitely tied with the Veloster N. I love the BRZ. You guys know that. But when it comes to price points, I think they could have added a little bit more to the car, or even engine tuning within the infotainment system. I think that would have been fantastic, but whatever. I mean, I'm still happy with the car, no regrets. But yeah, guys, that's basically it for this video. So this is my ranking. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, guys. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and stay tuned for more Subaru BRZ videos. I'm going to be purchasing some mods very soon for the car, so if you guys stay tuned, you guys will see me install them. If I can't install it, then I'll make a video of what the mod at least looks like or what it does, so you guys can see that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed.